in the UK, we don't get heat waves very often, so when we do, we don't cope very well. Everything just kind of grinds to a halt as people slowly swelter to death in their houses or get burnt to a crisp after exposing themselves to 10 minutes worth of direct sunlight. In fact, this Tuesday was actually the UK's hottest day of the year, and so far the clammy heat just hasn't let up. I mean, all I'm doing is sitting here recording a voiceover, but thanks to the temperature in my room, my sweaty back is sticking to my faux leather gaming chair like some kind of greasy Velcro strip. Ugh. So with that arousing image in mind, and because it's far too hot to think up a more complex list feature, here's 6 video game levels that are warmer than the UK was this week, but only just.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
It's too hot! I can't take it anymore!
Yeah, we know how you feel, Slippy. A lot of this week has felt like I'm piloting an R-wing across the surface of a lava planet, although I feel I must point out you were boasting about how robust your ship is about 2 minutes ago?
This baby can take temperatures up to 9,000 degrees.
Yeah, not so cocky now, are you? Starfox 64's solar mission is, let's face it, pretty stressful. Soundtracked by an endless cacophony of alarm bells, you not only have to avoid the usual litany of enemies, but spend the entire level trying to stay at the very top of the screen to keep heat damage to a minimum before fighting a giant praying mantis thing made of lava. I swear I saw one of these in my local earlier this week. I was having a pint of bitter.
Maybe it's an arm! Aim for the arm!
This opening shot here, right? I mean, you all know it, it's the defining shot of Uncharted 3, and if you are about looking for Pokemon or whatever earlier this week, then you can probably empathise with how your boy Nate must have felt throughout this entire section of the game.
Come in, under the shadow of this red rock.
Perhaps it wasn't quite warm enough to cause auditory hallucinations, I'll admit, but it probably convinced you to buy a Solero or something, didn't it? Very warm.
I went to a music festival last weekend and spent pretty much all of my time darting from shadow to shadow in a bid to stop the burning sun from toasting my translucent ginger skin into a painful shade of lobster pink, which kind of reminded me of the Escape from the Cave of Wonders level from Aladdin on the Super Nintendo. This auto-scrolling level forces the player to think on their feet as they leap from platform to platform, avoiding columns of lava, balls of lava, and a big old pit of lava. To top it all off, there's even a section where Aladdin has to use his magic carpet to escape from a gigantic tidal wave of lava. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, for someone with a fair complexion like me, the sun is lava, and if it touches me, I will die.
Flame Over doesn't just dedicate one level to hot, hot heat. The entirety of this pyroglike revolves around fighting fires in a randomly generated building with nothing more than a few gallons of water and a fire extinguisher or two. Which, to be fair, are exactly the kind of things you would want if you were fighting a fire. Now, this week the UK got very hot, but nowhere near as hot as things can get in Flame Over. You see, while prolonged exposure to sunlight can technically kill you, flames are considerably more efficient. To reflect this, fatalities are entirely possible in Flame Over, including, and this is genuinely terrible when it happens, cats. I'm so sorry, Cat. Oh, and when the heat gets too much for your little fireman to handle, he passes out in much the same way I imagine many people in the UK did on Tuesday evening. At least that's how I got into bed, anyway.
From one fireman to another, here's a hot bot whose level is known for pushing Mega Man to his boiling point. Yep, it's that pesky Fireman from Mega Man 1. Fireman's level is one of the shortest in the game, but it doesn't stop it from being one of the trickiest. There's plenty of rising fire columns and falling Chang keys to avoid, and one wrong move will drop you into the pool of molten lava below, where only insta-death awaits. This week the weather was so hot it melted my cat. Look at her there, all melty and stuff. But what about Fireman? Would he be able to melt my cat? Well, yes, of course he would. He can shoot waves of fire from his fingertips. Pfft, what a silly question.
In the heat of the night.
I briefly thought about going to Brighton Beach this week, but didn't, obviously on account of it being made of cruel rocks and stones rather than sand like a normal beach. Also, it would probably have been too warm, I think. However, it wouldn't have been quite as warm as Super Mario 64's Lethal Lava Land, I'll tell you that much. Poor old Mario, look at him, doesn't stand much of a chance in Lethal Lava Land, surprisingly, given its name. With very few places to stand, he's got to deal with the bombs, random fire spouts, a gigantic slider puzzle, and even, like, a volcano. Yes, this certainly is one hot level.
Phew, right, well that was our list of levels that were a little bit hotter than the UK this week, but only just. Now we can finally pop down to easy hours and get some ice creams in. I'm going for a cornetto, Johnny wants a magnum, and Chris has Bagsied a strawberry mini milk because he's about 10 years old. Before we leave though, there's just enough time left for me to remind you that you should totally like this video and subscribe to Eurogamer if you enjoyed it. Oh, and here's a few more cool list videos for you to chill out to if you don't fancy heading out into the sunshine. Goodbye.